Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I've made a video. Actually, I've been on holiday for a couple of weeks and yeah, had a couple of other things to do around the house, like for example extending the driveway on that side. But what I'm going to do now in terms of the Lotus XL project is trying to get grips with some of the electrics, the lights, and the first thing I'm going to concentrate on is the fans, which I haven't actually wired up yet since I put the car back together. So I'm just going to try and wire them up and then take it for a little bit of a test drive and see if they'll kick in, if the thermostat will set the electric motors off and kick in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make an electrical connection to these connectors here. So I'm going to unbolt this fan and remove it, I think, completely. 3 bolts. So I've removed one of the fans. I'm going to try and see if I can find some reasonable electrical connectors to fit onto there. Yeah, those two fit quite well, although that one's a little bit loose. So I'll see if I can find something a little bit, that one fits pretty well. So I'll just wire a short piece of wire and connect them there. I'm down in the basement now, and I've kept some of the old fans here, and what I'm going to do is, because these electrical connectors here connect pretty well to the power source basically, I'm going to remove those and use them for the new connection, because as I say, they connect exactly. So I'll use that. I'll cut these off now and use that, I think. Now I've got to get the polarity right here, and I'm not sure which is positive and which is negative here, so I'm going to test the fan again with the battery and see if I can find out. Obviously it's got to spin in the right direction, otherwise it'll suck air from the engine or suck air from the radiator rather than force air into the radiator. Probably that would work as well, but it's best that we get this right. So I've established that that's the positive, so I'm going to wire it up like that. So I've bolted it back in, the fan, put a bit of insulation tape around there, wired it up and put that bracket on there, and also checked that it spins freely and doesn't come in contact with the shroud. So that one's actually done. So this one I think is going to be a little bit simpler because there's already a connection on there. So it's just a question of putting the other connector on here and maybe cutting these a bit short as well, but wiring that up as well from there. So I'll remove this actually. I think that'll come off. Yes, it will. I'll just wire the other connection on there, I think. So I've wired it up like that. 2 connectors. I'll probably just put a bit more insulating tape over them to stop them from coming apart too easily. So that's that. Let me just wire that up now in the car. I'll probably secure that with a zip tie or something at a later date. But, yeah, so that's that. So I guess the next stage then is to test it, and that means starting the car and warming it up. So let me do that. Oh, let's have a look. Okay. Bit of choke. I'll get the key in there. Fires up quite well. So I'm told that the best way to do this, I think, for Paul is to pull the fuel enricher of the choke out, and let it run for about 30 seconds and then put it in again. So it's about 30 seconds in it. With a bit of gas. I'll probably take it for a quick run again up the street there. Interesting thing as well is that the fan fail light has now gone out. It was on when I started it, but as you can see, the choke and the fuel warning light comes on sometimes. It's probably because it's a bit low on fuel, but yeah. But let me warm it up for a bit anyway and see. As I say, I'll take it for a run up the street there a bit. So I've run it a few times up and down the street. It's approaching the temperature it should do before the fans kick in. Let me have a look. Even though they haven't kicked in yet, but it's still showing temperature too low. So let me just run it a couple more times to see if I can get it to go above temperature. So I've run it a couple of times now, and interesting, there's only one fan's kicked in so far, so I'll have to see what the problem is with the other one. But the one on the left-hand side that I'm looking at now has worked, but the other one hasn't. So yeah, I'll have to find out what's causing that issue. Yeah, pleased that one of them works anyway. So the situation regarding the fans is this at the moment. I managed to get the other one working, so the one on the right hand side, as you see there. But then the one on the left hand side stops working. So I suspect that in the test that I made, there was a loose connection or something, because I've tested the fan again with an independent battery, and the fan's working okay. And this one's now wired up and it's working okay. Now the problem I've had is that when I was testing it, I noticed that the carburetor was leaking. So both carburetors were leaking down here. So that means that I cannot really risk running the engine warm again in case it goes up in smoke. So what I'll do is now is I do have the carb rebuild kit. So what I'll do is I'll proceed now to dismantle the carbs, take them off the car, dismantle them, and rebuild them, and hopefully then they will stop leaking. I've established that one of the fuses has blown for the fan, so I've got them both working but not at the same time. So if I switch the fuse over to the other one, in a minute, that fuse there, and put it in there, then the other fan, as you can see, is working. It's a little bit noisier, but yeah, I need to buy a new fuse, but the fan's more or less working. So I'll switch off then. So I've temporarily borrowed a fuse from something else, from the washer wiper. It's also a 10 amp fuse, and now if I, as you can see, both fans are working together. So, job done.